Welcome, Dominic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely to be together. We've known
Great to
each
be
other
here.
for a
Yes.
number of years.
Quite a few
So
years.
we finally have a chance to sit down and chat in a very informal way. Normally, we're talking formally with each other.
Normally we're talking more
So
formal. Yeah.
today, it's just a matter of relaxing and getting to know each other with the cappuccino machine in the background.
There's always more caffeine when you need it.
Exactly. We'll start off, Dominic, talking a little bit about you and your background. You've been a hairstylist for how many years now?
Over 35 years.
Over 35
Yeah,
years.
close to 40. Yeah.
And what is it that got you? How did you get into the hairstyling world?
So way back, starting from high school, I actually had no intentions of becoming a hairstylist. I had a dream of becoming an auto mechanic because back then in my teenage years, I liked cars. So what I found out after trying a placement in a auto repair shop is that I like cars, I like driving them, but don't really like fixing them. So it was my dad that encouraged me to start a career in hairdressing because he had a lot of people in his peer group that were hairstylists and they did very well at it and they very much liked it. So as a result of me just needing a job after high school ended, I got myself an apprenticeship in a hair salon and loved it from day one.
Now, where was that? Which part of the country? Which city?
That was in Kitchener-Waterloo.
Kitchener,
Yeah,
Waterloo.
close to where I live. Yeah.
And so you started working in a salon.
Started an apprenticeship, and then at the time back in the 80s, the apprenticeship program had worked that in such a way that you worked in the salon for several months, and then you took a couple of months off, went to school full time, and then came back and did more hours in the salon, and then we did one or two more sessions in formal school setting.
So that's the way it used to be.
That's the way it used
So
to be.
let's go through that one more time.
Sure.
If I wanted to be a hairstylist back then in
Yep.
the 80s,
Yep.
what were the steps I had to take?
So you could either go to private school and go to a 10-month or a 1-year course and pay up front, and that's called the traditional hairstyling school method. But then what I did was more of an apprenticeship style method where the government sponsored me as a student of hairdressing, and they virtually paid for my education. The government covered my cost of education through unemployment. Yeah.
So is that still the case today?
I don't believe so. I think it's a little bit different now.
So how does it work now if I want to be a hairstylist?
So I believe you need to have at least a grade 12 education, and then you can enroll in a hairstyling school where you pay. It's a private school, and I believe it's about 10 months to a year. And then you get an apprenticeship in a salon. The salon sponsors you, and it's with the Skills Ontario program. And you have to complete about 2,000 hours, I believe it is, of an apprenticeship. And then the salon after that time keeps you on. You write your government exam to pass the hairdressing test, and then you become a full-fledged licensed hairstylist.
So you became a stylist obviously many years ago, and you've been practicing. Do you do everything like coloring, cutting? Were you doing it right from the beginning, or did you start off doing certain things and then grew?
No, so as with most apprentices, you learn how to do shampoos first. Sorry, let me rewind. You clean the salon first,
Right.
then you learn how to work with clients, and generally the first thing you learn is how to shampoo somebody's hair. And then you progressively get to do more and more challenging tasks like color applications, color removals, highlights, any kind of special techniques. And then you learn hair cutting eventually. Hair cutting is
What's
the trickiest.
most difficult part of learning? Is it the coloring is the most difficult, or is it the cutting and shaping hair that's the most difficult? What's the most difficult part of being a good hairstylist?
Once you know how to do anything, it's not as difficult, right? So it depends on where you put most of your efforts. Coloring is challenging sometimes from a chemistry standpoint because you don't just paint color on somebody's hair and expect it to turn out like that. You have to know the chemistry behind color and what the hair goes through in the process of either lightening or darkening the color. With hair cutting, it's a bit of there's a lot more feel to it, a lot more personality that goes into a haircut, a lot more, you're creating a shape, right? So a hair color application is more mechanical, and two people can get it, two identical results from a color. Whereas with a haircut, you hardly ever get two people getting the exact same results from a haircut. They'll look like two different things completely, even though you're following the same haircut pattern.
So is it fair to say that when you are cutting and styling hair, that's a lot more artistry than coloring? Is that fair?
In my opinion, yes. Now, if you talk to a color technician, they might completely disagree with me because color technicians believe
Well,
that
they
their art
specialize
is
in
the
color,
art.
of course. Yeah.
Exactly, they specialize.
So they're
in color.
both. I guess they're both different arts.
There's artistry
Art
in
and
both
both.
of them.
Okay.
Both of yeah.
That's true because the color is very important that it be the right shade, etc.
100%,
Yeah,
yes.
true.
But with if you look at a client's follow-up appointment and it's just a repeat of the previous color, you can easily repeat that color by looking at your notes, providing that you made notes last time,
Yeah.
and then you can just copy and paste basically onto the
Right.
updated service, right? But when it comes to a haircut, there's a lot of personality, and no two sets of hands work the same when it comes to a haircut. So even the same stylist probably won't get two identical haircuts in a row on the same person. Right?
Interesting. So take us a little bit more through your journey then. So you started working in a salon.
So I started working in a salon called Joseph's. It was in a shopping center first. Completed my apprenticeship there. Worked under a couple of different management. There was some transitions in management when I was at that salon, which was fine. It was great. It was giving me the opportunity to have several different mentors along my way. And it wasn't too long. I think I might have apprenticed for 3 years, maybe even less. Probably less than 3 years. And then we opened up our first salon, myself and 3 other partners.
Right. And now you continue to cut hair though, even though you
Yes.
are a co-owner of a salon. How much of your time do you spend behind the chair and how much of your time do you spend in the business?
I would say that I still spend about 75% of my time behind the chair and 25% behind the scenes doing the business stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the services that you perform, how have they changed since you started as a hairstylist? What's changed and what you do? And even how, well, let's start with what you do and then how you do it. What has changed in these?
So back in the 80s, of course, the type of services that we did on our clients were sharply connected with what the trends were at the time. So in the 80s, as we know, perms and big hair were the thing. So we did a lot more permanent waves. We still did some color, but not as many colors as we do today. There's a lot more coloring techniques today, more so than we had back in the 80s. So perms were the big thing. And then in the 90s were sort of more of a transitional period where there was still a lot of perms going on, but some of the cool color techniques were being introduced and being made commercial and getting more prolific.
While I think about it, what percentage of your clients are women and what percentage are men?
Oh, I would say that in our salon, different salons.
But you personally, on your
my personal clientele.
Yeah.
Oh, I do quite a few guys, but I would still say that my 70-30 probably.
Okay.
70% women, 30% guys.
And then talking about women's hair then, what has changed in the years? You mentioned perms were there. I heard perms might be making a bit of a comeback right now. Do you see that?
Yeah, we're doing more than we used to, but nothing's going to compare against the 80s.
Right.
Right? We're in the 80s, we would do as a salon the same size as what we have now. We would probably push out, I don't know, 15 or 20 perms a day in that salon. And now we'll do, 15 or 20 in a month tops.
So
So-
what is the aspect of hairstyling that you would say has changed from a practice perspective? Perming was one. Anything else you can say you've changed, that you've seen change through the years?
Well, color is becoming a lot more popular.
Okay.
And different coloring techniques and wilder colors and more options for colors. The manufacturers are even producing different shades to make it a little easier on our work.
So are there more color shades now than before?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about styling? There are so many different, there was a time when bobs were in, for example.
Yep.
Do you see any trends now or any styles now?
So I believe that a bob is a classic style that has never gone out and probably never will go out. It's just one of those styles that has stood the test of time. Again, back in the 80s, it was big curly hair, and the bigger you can get it, the better it is. Then again, the 90s, early 2000s, especially for women started to grow their hair long, and most women continue to have long hair versus short hair. There was a time in the 90s when, some celebrities like Demi Moore had a really cute little pixie cut. And people would come in, clients would come in and ask for the Demi Moore haircut.
Right.
And then, so essentially a lot of hairstyles are inspired by Hollywood or rock stars or famous people, athletes sometimes. So Demi Moore was a big one in the 90s. Rachel from Friends, everybody wanted the Rachel haircut from Friends. Through the 90s, early 2000s, her hairstyle lasted a long time. And then just longer, straighter, blonder. Blondes are still very, very popular.
Yes.
And now we're starting to get a mixture of everything. Like anything goes right now. There's not, in my opinion, there's not really any one specific trend that everybody's getting. So people are getting what they want, what they like. They'll look through it. And another thing that's changed a lot is magazines in a hair salon. So we used to have to rely on magazines for inspiration on hairstyles, right? So we supply magazines for our clients, and now there isn't a single magazine to be found in the salon, right? At least not with respect to a hairstyle picture. People look at Google Images, and you get hundreds or thousands of inspirational.
So has your customer changed then through the years? And how has your customer changed? How do you compare the customer today to the customer 20 years ago?
Customers today are more educated. There's a lot more available information on salons. The internet has provided us with Google and Google reviews. So it's a lot easier for a customer to educate themselves on where to go. It used to be that most of our new business was word of mouth. And it seems to be that most of our new business now comes from Google or our Instagram page or our Facebook page, TikTok page. So they're finding salons, and most businesses, I would have to say, online versus talking to a friend and getting a recommendation. Although that it does still happen. Right. You see somebody's nice hair and say, "Hey, where'd you get it done?" But it's less so than it was back, before the internet.
Do you feel that the structure of people's hair has changed through all the years you've observed? Are people having more of certain type of problems with their hair than they had before? Example, thinning or other issues?
I've been noticing, especially on middle-aged to slightly older women. Guys have lost their hair since forever, so we're already used to it, right? A guy starts going bald in his 20s, and it's all automatically accepted. When a woman loses her hair, it's usually a lot later in life because it seems to be more of a hormonal issue. I am noticing a little bit more thinning, especially through the top areas of women's hair when they're going through some hormonal changes in their lives. Another thing that I've noticed recently is that there's been a movement for people not to wash their hair as often, not to shampoo their hair as often. So instead of going, and shampooing your hair every other day or every third day, they're trying to let it go for a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Why is that?
Longer. I can't have there's no explanation in my mind except for TikTok said so, right? There's been a movement on TikTok, and a lot of people watch their TikTok videos and they believe at face value what the influencer on TikTok is saying.
So do you think that's a good thing that they don't wash their hair?
No, I think it's harmful because what happens is the hair starts overproducing the oils if you don't wash it, and it blocks off the blood circulation. And then if there's no blood circulation, there's no nutrients that come to the hair shaft or to the hair follicle. And therefore it weakens the follicle and causes hair loss in some cases.
So why do you think people are thinking it's better not to wash your hair other than just TikTok?
It's good not to wash your hair too often from the standpoint of not drying out your hair, the lengths of your hair, right? If you wash it too often, especially if you're using a harsh shampoo, then it's going to dry your ends out, right? But they're kind of ignoring the fact that your scalp needs to be washed.
Okay.
Right? So there's a difference between washing your hair and washing your scalp, even though you do both at the same time, right? They both need to be clean.
So there's been a lot of talk recently about scalp health.
Yes.
Is that something that you feel needs to have more attention given to it?
100%.
And if so, what advice do you have about scalp?
I would say that a person, just like their body health, should get on some sort of a regular treatment program for their scalp, whether it's at home or whether it's a visit to the salon. Treat your scalp well, and your scalp will treat your hair well.
So what are things you could be doing to treat your scalp well?
Moisturizing treatments, anti-dandruff treatments. If your scalp is oily, then make sure you use an appropriate shampoo and conditioner for oily hair. Same goes for dry hair or flaky scalp.
So do you think it's a good idea then for a client to ask their hairstylist for a special consultation on their scalp?
Yeah, 100%. And if you get it done in the salon, it's always, first of all, it's a nicer experience to have it done in the salon because, it's relaxing and, you get a scalp massage that goes along with it. And then the hairdresser can actually provide a more sustainable approach over the course of a long period of time, say like 6 months to a year or even more.
So that's the part that as I listen to you talk and observe what's happening out there in the world in general, all these pseudo-professionals coming along and becoming professionals on TikTok or Instagram, etc., are starting to often take the place of the real professionals. It almost doesn't matter whether you're talking therapy or medicine or, in this case, the world of hair.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about why we would suggest people make sure they get their consultation with their hairstylist versus getting it from TikTok.
Right. So I truly believe that the best person to recommend, whether it's a product treatment protocol or whether it's a service, is the best person to ask for that advice is your hairdresser who's actually working on your hair. Okay, we do go to school for it. We have the experience with it. We do thousands of clients over our career. So the experience is there, right? So I always compare it to getting your car fixed. You know, if you have a complicated problem with your car, you probably are not going to try to fix it yourself. You get a mechanic to do it, a professional. The dealership fixes your car for you. And same goes for hair. I believe that a professional is going to do obviously a better job than, you know, someone from TikTok giving you the advice.
So are there some suggestions you have for the client? So if I'm a client
Yep.
and I'm going to my hairstylist,
Yep.
are there some things that I should be asking them that they wish I would ask, or some ideas you can give to people? Say, when you go to your hairstylist, make sure you ask them these sorts of things. What
Right.
would you suggest?
So if you're going to your hairdresser, and I mean, I'm not saying that everybody has a problem when they come and see us. Sometimes they just need some maintenance, whether it's a little trim or whether it's a touch up on the roots or whatever it is. But if you have any concerns, whether it is a dry scalp or a flaky scalp, or, you know, some people have psoriasis on their scalp, which is a medical condition, then absolutely address it to your hairdresser and ask them for their advice, right? Trust your hairdresser.
Would you, I've heard a lot about these new treatments like keratin treatments or bonding treatments. Tell us a little bit about that for people listening into the podcast, stuff that they should know coming from an experienced hairstylist about these new treatments available for hair.
Right. So over the years, there's been a lot of breakthroughs in hairstyling. And if you go way back to the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, the blow dryer was a new invention in the hairstyling world, because before that, women used to go into the salon, get rollers in their hair, and then sit under a dryer for half an hour until their hair is dry. And then I believe it was Vidal Sassoon that invented the at-home blow dryer, and that took off. And there's very few, in my mind, there's very few real big breakthroughs in the industry, but there's a few. So one of the life-changing services that we offer are hair extensions, right? Hair extensions have been popular, I'd say, for maybe the last 20 years, which is still fairly new. And they're gaining more and more popularity. And they make the world of a difference. Within a couple of hours, it can change a woman's life from having thin, straggly hair to long, thick, beautiful, full hair, right? Adds a lot of confidence. Another one is keratin treatments. Keratin treatments are one of those treatments that do what they say. So they're used primarily to defrizz someone's hair. So if someone's having a hard time with thick, frizzy hair, the keratin smoothing treatment is a wonderful treatment to transform that. It cuts your styling time down in half. It makes your hair feel a lot healthier, and it just fixes your day. It fixes your morning.
So you mentioned hair extensions. You do hair extension?
Yes, I do.
Apparently there are different types of hair extensions.
Yep.
Just a quick idea of what different types of hair extensions are there?
So we've been doing them long enough that we've sort of gone through all the different methods that there are. So there's
Which methods are you saying are generally the best?
generally the best. So we choose my personal opinion. My personal extension style is keratin bond extensions. I find them to be the most natural, the most bulletproof as far as them staying in the hair. They don't cause as much damage as some of the other types. Some of the other types are microlink or loop and locks, as they're sometimes called. Where the hair goes through a tiny little ring, a metal ring or a plastic ring, and it gets squeezed on with a plier, and that's how it's attached to the hair. But the problem with those is sometimes they slip out of the hair, sometimes they break the hair, they get caught up in the hair. So we sort of steer away from those. Tape-ins are really easy. Some hairstylists love the tape-in ones. They're really easy to apply. You get some pretty good bang for your buck because the hair sections are thick. I find them a little damaging. Especially on the removal of the tape-ins, because there's a lot of tape that covers the hair, the hair section,
I
and I
see.
find it's just a little harsh when it has to come out. The other ones don't come to mind right away, but there's 2 or 3 other types that are fairly popular.
So as you look back, are you glad you became a hairstylist?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, part of it, after you've been in the business as long as I have, it's not about the hair anymore. So when you have a young apprentice, a young hairstylist, it's all about, oh, it's so exciting. I want to learn about the hair. I can't wait to do my next color. Check out these highlights I did. Check out the color I just did, which is all still great. You know, when a color turns out amazing, it's so good and it's really, great for our confidence. After 35 years in the industry, I enjoy my people. I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy my clients. I've made so many friendships. I've learned so much through my clientele. They help you through difficult life situations. They help you through happy life situations. Like, my clients, because I'm fairly open. I'm not a very private person, so I'm fairly open. So my clients have helped me through.
I know
raising
you
my
recently
kids.
went through a big health scare.
I had a big
How
health
important
scare.
were your clients through that?
100%. It was so comforting because when you tell people about your issues, whether it's health or whether it's something else, like I went through divorce too, right? And I didn't feel like I needed any counseling or therapy through my divorce because my clients did that for me.
You saved a lot of money.
While they're in my chair and they're paying me to do it,
Nice, very nice.
right? Because anything that we're going to experience basically in our lives, somebody else has already experienced it.
Yes, that's
whether it's a business transaction, whether it's a health scare, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a baby or somebody's sick in your mother, a loss of a parent. I've lost both my parents. My clients have helped me through all of that. So I consider them my worldwide or counselors in life.
That's awesome. That's really good.
That part of it.
Dominic, thank you so much. That was lovely
thank
talking
you.
to you.
Yeah, lovely
We
talking to you
look
too.
forward to continuing our conversation.
Absolutely.
Thanks a
Thank you.
million.
Thank you.